I'm sure we've all heard the tragic news about Takeoff, and rest in peace to him. But I want you to look at this. Taking a look at the music video they dropped the night before the incident, you can see Quavo has a gun and Amigos contract, in which he contemplated, then decided to place the contract down and pick up the gun. The camera then pans to Takeoff next to the Grim Reaper with RIP written underneath. A clear subliminal reference to a future sacrifice, as Takeoff was then taken by a gun and Migos were having complications with their record label contracts. The Grim Reaper is known to collect victim souls. Remember, this is on Halloween night, which roots were celebrating the rise of the god of death and human sacrifice. In this scene, the time stated is 2:30 in the morning, which was the same time the incident happened. I want to remind you that they have a song called 2:30 on the album also. 2:30 is the 9th track on the album and 23 is the 9th prime. People like to disregard the numerical side, but this is the way they operate, a numerical code that is accurately used. In this scene it shows an altercation over a game, then showing Takeoff uninvolved in the background, which both was the case in the real scenario. The original roots of playing dice was from wizards and warlocks throwing runes to conjure demons, and back in Roman times they'd play life or death with dice like Russian roulette. 33 is an important number to the occult for many reasons, and the title also matches with ritual in Gematria, the coded language used. Takeoff's last story is playing a song called Stop Breathing, of course right before he really did in the tragic event. This happens 87 months after Migos' first album with QC and on the date 11/1, where the label's name also equals 87 and 111. It seems the label have something going on. This happened while SpaceX are launching their rocket. Takeoff's album is called The Last Rocket. He passed in Houston, where their NBA team is the Rockets. I told you before, they sync up the news with sports and other media. I have much more to add on also. Comment part 2 if you want a more in-depth video. This runs very deep. It's sad to see this happen. Lastly, a quote from Quando Rondo. In this industry, to get some mills, you gotta kill your brother. But I'm way too solid for real to sacrifice my love. The game is twisted, and once they're in it they can't get out, so prayers to all that are going through that mess. So my message to you is to stay safe and always spread truth. God bless. So in part 1 of the Takeoff sacrifice, I dissected their latest video pointing out Takeoff next to the Grim Reaper and RIP poster, the 2:30 connections, the way it's always synced up to news and sports, etc. So I decided, since I left out so much, I would make a more in-depth part 2 with more undeniable evidence. Sports and news sync reminds me of last year's Travis Scott incident.
Houston loses the World Series, right? Then days later you have the Astro World tragedy, and then right after that, UB40 singer Astro dies.
Then teams with Ukraine blue and yellow colors win their championships, with main stars being 34 years old in their 13th season. The coded language is Gematria, which I'll explain soon.
Rocket in Houston, home of the Houston Rockets. Somebody said the Rockets won their first championship 28 years ago.
They beat the Knicks.
They beat the Knicks in 94, 28 years ago.
Rap 17, kill 17.
Yeah, I gotta point out the Rockets are 1-7 while he dies in Houston.
Gematria is a Jewish mysticism from Kabbalah, still being practiced by Jesuits and Masons. So this code is very real, and celebs like Ariana Grande and Donald Trump openly are a part of it.
Stage managed. But what are the odds that Takeoff's 83 Instagram posts, his birth name equals 83, just like Murder's 83? And again, if you guys are new here, we talk about that number all the time with Murder too, because if you don't use numerology, Murder's 83, and the song Murder by Numbers came out in 83. And
would like to mention that the film Murder by Numbers by Sandra Bullock has the E changed to a 3 and the B changed to an 8 for 38. Murder equals 38 and 83. This is a mainstream movie proving the code exists and is being used in your face.
It gets even crazier. Takeoff's real name is Kershnik Kahari Ball. If I mispronounced that, my bad. It equals 83 in the most pure cipher. Notice Murder also equals 83. The most pure cipher, his name equals 28 alongside the word kill. He was shot and killed. Next, you can see he died on a date with 34 numerology. Notice QC, the label he repped to the fullest, and his cause of death being murder both equal 34. Now, Takeoff, his stage name also equals 35 in the reverse reduction cipher. Notice he died on the 305th day of the year. Using the rules of numerology, zeros are null, leaving us with the number 35. Takeoff was killed in Houston at the 810 Billiards Bowling Houston, which equals 1090. Similar to the gematria of the word shooting, which equals 109. Word ritual equals 81, and this occurred at 810, like 81. Again, remove the zero. No, from Takeoff's 28th to the release of Takeoff and Quavo's latest album is a span of 111 days, like 111. Takeoff died on 11/1. But if you calculate from when their album released to Takeoff's death, it's a span of 25 days. But what makes it even more of a numerical riddle is that their latest album was released on October 7th, which is the 280th day of the year. Remember, Takeoff died at the age of 28, and his stage name equals 28 in the Most Pure Cypher. But to top it off, and what really tells me this was planned from a while back, notice the release date for Takeoff and Quavo's latest album was on October 7th, written 10/7 like the number 107. The phrase ritual sacrifice equals 107. Again, like people, you don't have to agree with me, but you really can't ignore these numbers. Blew my mind was that Takeoff died exactly 109 months after the release of their breakout hit, Versace. Notice, shooting and the name of the location Takeoff died have that 109 in it, as I've shown earlier.
Rocket in Houston, home of the Houston Rockets. Somebody said the Rockets won their first championship 28 years ago.
They beat the Knicks.
They beat the Knicks in 94, 28 years ago.
So this wasn't the first time someone has tried to make an attempt on the Migos. It was reported on March 28, 2014 that after a show, the Migos crew was driving in a van on a highway after a club appearance when another vehicle pulled up alongside them and started shooting. Notice they emphasize the word van. It's an attempt in a van in Miami. So Miami is the 305 area code. Now, today's the 305th day of the year. Okay, so today's the 305th day of the year. Their first attempt on their life was in the 305 area code. Like I said, 2019, they already attempted to try to kill Offset. You got to think about it. The Migos, one of the biggest groups in hip-hop history. Of course, one of their members had to go. Wu-Tang Clan, right? Old Dirty Bastard, gone. NWA, Eazy-E, gone. So, of course, you got to have... I saw this coming. We've seen this coming. This is a predictable story with all the same numbers that they always put in it. So, of course, one of the biggest, arguably the biggest hip-hop group of our generation, now one of the members is gone.
Somebody just pointed out that today's the death anniversary of Mac Dre. Am I remember this right? Was Mac Dre shot in a van?
That's right, in Kansas City.
You were just saying that there was like a attempt on Migos when they were in a van, and now he's dead on the anniversary of Mac Dre.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy, Zach. He was killed in the van, wasn't he? Yeah, he was killed in the van in a drive-by on the highway.
Yeah, here's the story right here. After Hicks and the other Fizz Entertainment members had performed a show in Kansas City, Missouri on October 31st, Halloween, an unidentified gunman shot at the group's van as it traveled to U.S. Route 71 in the early morning hours, November 1st. Yeah, that's what I mean. They're always paying tribute to history.
Wow. This is mind-blowing. Okay, think about it, right? At the time, Mac Dre and E40 were probably like on the same level, right? Mac Dre goes, and what happens? E40 goes on to have an astronomical career.
Look at this, man. Look at it. The Migos van shooting was on the 87th day of the year.
Wow.
See? And now dead 87 months after the first album came out. See, all this stuff is just story and narrative. It's all narrative. Yeah, this news broke on the 87th day of the year about their van getting shot at. And see, it just makes more and more sense. They're now dead on the anniversary of Mac Dre killed in the van. Look at what they were on. They were on Interstate 95. Halloween, the day... Okay, for people who don't know the history, the Jesuits, again, we're saying the Jesuits are behind all of this. And I know we're right about that. Just like bowling alley equals Society of Jesus. But the Jesuits were created to counter the 95 Theses, and Halloween is super important to the Jesuits because the 95 Theses was posted on Halloween, where, of course, Halloween equals 95 in Gematria. Notice last night on Halloween, number 95, Myles Garrett for the Browns had the huge game. A year ago on Halloween, the Braves were beat 9-5, 9,500 days after they won the World Series in 95 in Atlanta. And they beat Houston last year, and now here we are with the World Series, and Houston's back in it, and he's from Atlanta, dead in Houston.
Someone left this comment on part 1, which I had to look up and was correct. Ghost Rider was a demon who made deals with humans for their souls. Quavo for Halloween dressed up as Ghost Rider. Halloween is the holiday of sacrifice. That's the origins. Rest in peace to this man.